All right, you beautiful humans. I hinted that I may be trying out the base model M4 MacBook Air, and it seems like everyone is really lit about this device, but I really stand behind trying to help you make a buying decision without lighting your money on fire. And I'm sharing my use case with you, so bringing you behind the scenes on a couple scenarios, and I will meet you right back here for the rundown to summarize my thoughts because I have a few and I hope to make it clear as a good beef stew. But I do have one thing different that I would recommend to you that I didn't usually prioritize, but I will explain that in my final thoughts. So really, let's just jump into the what's what, and I'll see you right back here. All right, for those of you who want to skip this section, totally get it. I've got chapters in the video, but we have Resident Evil Village, yes, optimized for Mac OS, but on a 4K display, we are running it at 1440. I do have metal upscaling toggled on, and I know that at 1080, this thing will cruise at around 60 frames. So you can actually see it's a little bit less here, but I just wanted to push the GPU, the CPU a bit. I can assure you that I have won this game. I beat this game. You can't really tell. And so what I wanted to show is that kind of with some more heavier settings. Oh, and the CPU, as far as the temps, they're running at around 78, 80 degrees Celsius. They do spike up to like around 100, I think, like when things are getting loaded. But once this is loaded, then it kind of hangs at around high 70s. And for those of you who are like, who games on a Mac? Well, here's the deal. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. But here's the thing, Junior Bacon. I have a case behind me, just came in. I've got stuff on order here. We're building another rig. You do you, my friend. You want a game on your phone, your PC, your Mac. You want to blow off a little Steam. I mean, hey, that's the thing. You can actually download Steam and play it on here if you wanted to. So the thing is, I don't know if we have history, if you couldn't tell, she and I really am trying to talk through it here. And I think she was at first, but then I think something just kind of came up from the past. It's always the past, isn't it? I wonder, like I said, there's an I or something at the top, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah. Oh, nope, that's not going to work. She's feeling a little frisky. Hold on. I didn't even think I had any more. Hold still. How about if you hold still, friend? But not too bad, right? I mean, I don't know. If this is your jam. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh boy. We've done it. Oh, here we go. I forgot the lights go off on this one. So let's see. Oh. No. I think it's time. Oh, see? Man, I am really... I'll just call it rusty. Ooh. Yes, I could use some shotgun ammo. Thank you. She's just not hearing me. And of course, feel free, like I said, cut out any time here because I am just not doing well. I mean, maybe we can... Oh, there she went. All right. I'm not sure if we're getting anywhere here, but this just kind of gives you an idea. Not only the fact that I stink at this game, but the fact that it can run this game pretty well. And again, at 1440 and metal upscaling toggled on. And the temps, let me just look. Yeah, we're still at 78 degrees. But obviously that GPU is clocked, man. All right. All right, how about we get out of here and I'll show you the next test. Okay, so I didn't think we were going to be here, but welcome. So what you're looking at here is a very ridiculous, unrealistic 4K multicam timeline playing all of the clips simultaneously. I know I get asked, or many of us get asked, like, why do we always have to like show like the video editing capabilities or like this footage? And when it comes to your questions as far as how much can you push this machine without doing a synthetic benchmark, but a real world, unrealistic though, situation, this is what we got. So all of this 4K footage is graded, LUTs, effects. I mean, the thing is almost like an hour long. I've been playing this thing like most of the morning just to kind of get things like ramped up here because the CPU, the efficiency cores and the performance cores, I'm sorry, it's just amazing to think that this like fanless device is actually handling this, pushing the 4K display. And as far as the temps, roughly a cool 67, 68 degrees on the CPU and the GPU. And as far as, memory pressure, 65%. Now I have been watching this go between 60 and even pushing like 80 as far as the pressure is concerned. Final Cut's looking for about 11, and I saw it even go up to about 14 or 15 gigs as far as that swap is concerned. I do have a couple of background things going with Docker and Safari. And as far as this graph down here, this just kind of shows, like, I've been playing this for a while now. And then coming back up here and being able to like scrub through it, grab this, scrub through it, move through it, and then pick up and play. Yep. Let me see if that actually did anything. Oh yeah, there was like a little spike with the efficiency and performance cores. Just kind of, so like, those are like those short burst things. So like if I was grading a particular clip, if I was adding an effect on a particular clip, this is where you would kind of see like that real like short burst of activity. But here's the thing too, we're pushing the 4K display, and just to answer those questions, we are on an external SSD because this is a lot of footage. I mean, a lot of footage. And on this base model MacBook Air, I don't have enough space on it. And of course, I will talk about that. I do want to summarize that, especially when it comes to the swap. But we have bandwidth allocated to the external display plus the SSD, and we're still cruising. But just keep in mind, folks, if this is kind of like a benchmark, like if this is like the level that you could potentially push this machine at, the rest of the stuff that we're probably working in day to day, like posting on, all these platforms that we post on, this just kind of shows you like this is an extreme. This really is an unrealistic extreme. And I just wanted you to see it. Okay, so let's actually break this down just enough so that it's not broken, but I do feel like I am the outlier here because I did not go for the sky blue. I just felt like it was a little too blue for me, and I really need this device to understand that we are here to work, and yes, gaming is still work, but as you could see, I'm still very much at the intern level of that career path. But let's start with the price because I want to set the tone for the rest of what I'm about to say when it comes to the price drop. Now, I know that it seems like a gift, and if you found $100 lying on the ground, I am sure that you would pick it up and think that you've stumbled into some good fortune, and we wouldn't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. However, still making damn sure that you are not looking at the horse's ass, because this is very much a necessary play from Apple, not a gift, because at the time of this video, the economy is softening, my friends. Spending $1,000 to save $100 really isn't great math. And I really don't want my enthusiasm for this base model device to take over, because if you have the M1 or any other iteration of these SoCs, I am not saying that you have to go out and pick this one up. However, I'm also very much into the belief and behavior of making an investment in a solid piece of hardware that will give you a solid return for many years to come. And as far as this being the best deal out there for a Mac, aside from a Mini or anything that is refurbished, if you are looking for portability, then yes, it is. And if you're wondering about whether this would be a good choice for school or work, well, let me actually just point you back to that 4K timeline. Trying to work with that H.265 4K footage, typically what I'm doing here, multiple cameras that include grading effects and LUTs, that is my real life scenario that really pushes these devices. So it doesn't even come close to the daily ask of browsers, spreadsheets, Word docs, even like Docker, but ChatGPT or Gemini, like whatever it is that you have that you want to throw at it, I am sure it will definitely take its best shot. But I will say that if you're not careful, Safari is going to eat as much memory as it can. In the way that I have so many tabs open, that swap is definitely not missing a beat. But I do need to offer some advice on that front. But let me just actually finish this point. So if you're working with a video timeline that you typically see on these platforms, on YouTube or any of the other socials, then I think that this machine and even previous generations will handle it. And I did want you to see that GPU buckling timeline just so that you know that if that's the level that you're hoping to scale to, that you actually may be able to do it with this device. And even if you needed to use proxy media and make it even easier, but really reiterating here, all the other timelines that I've worked with in the past, the MacBook Air has really made a nice little snack out of them. And if you are coming from an Intel-based Mac, then the M1 will literally change the meaning of life for you. It's seriously that good. I am not kidding. And I get asked about whether this is a good laptop specifically for school. And one of my kids is actually heading into an engineering program, and this will actually likely be his machine. Just don't tell him. But he actually has been on several forums that have really advised against a Mac for this type of major. So why don't you just have a field day in the comments section and with that piece of advice, and I'll just kind of see you in there and we can talk amongst ourselves. But really going back to the M1 Max that I have, the spec of that machine was around $3,500 and at over 3 times the price as the M4. Instead of really just trying to justify the fact that the M1 Max purchase occurred almost 4 years ago, and it's still making light work of what I throw at it, and the only plan that I have for it as of this time, I'm not replacing it, I am keeping it in my rotation. But does it sting a little that 4 years later, I could have had something that was close in performance, if not better in some ways, for a third of the price? I mean, it's impressive to see that this second gen 3 nanometer technology chew through some of these heavy tasks without a fan and at that price point, but this is almost 4 years later. And if I had still been waiting and not invested in the M1 lineup, then you and I would not be hanging out like we do right now. Now, this is actually where I wanted to go down a little bit of a different path than I usually venture down, because this has to do with storage. You can run a virtual machine on an external drive. I did a video about that, another one where I played games on the external drive, and many videos of actually editing video on an external drive. But because these devices are starting with 16 gigabytes of unified memory, which I've always recommended as a minimum, the swap functionality is just so darn good that I wanted to propose to you, and it might take a little bit extra time, but you might want to look at your budget and really think about bumping up that storage. The reason being is that you do need some available space on your internal storage to really make sure that the memory swap remains smooth. And as an example, with the base model, I installed my video editing software, my LUTs, my effects, Logic Pro, Lightroom, Docker, and a couple of games. And then I decided to actually take a small video project and move it over to the internal. And after that, I really only had about 60 gigs left on the internal. But as I said, you can certainly game, edit videos, and run virtual machines on the external. However, there's just something really nice to have some breathing room on the storage and the ability to have some decently sized files and folders and be untethered. And I know that this is a jump in price and it seems unreasonable. And some of you will say, okay, then this actually starts to creep up in that MacBook Pro territory. But here's the thing, you are still about $300 south of that with adding just 500 gigs or 512 gigs of internal on it. And I understand that for that base model MacBook Pro, that's what you get. The thing is, I just worry about scaling that ladder up and up and then you find yourself in a really uncomfortable place where you've overextended and waiting on a future that may not materialize for a while. And so, putting a bow on this word vomit, if you're ready to make a purchase and looking to get into the macOS ecosystem and you want portability, but you're actually still driving yourself borderline bonkers about whether this machine would be a good fit, honestly, I think you've already answered your own question, because this MacBook Air will be an absolutely impressive piece of hardware for you. Go create something amazing, keep rocking those faces, and I will catch you right back here on the next one. But I mean, upgrading to the MacBook Pro, I mean, should you? I mean, I kid. This is enough. It's perfect. It's great. It's Go with this one.